The media is everywhere across our daily lives. It's in our streets. We invite it into our homes through TV, internet, radio. We carry it around with us everywhere we go. But I don't think that many people actually stop to critically question, who is it that makes the news? Who is it that controls the narrative? Who is it? Who's visible? Who remains invisible? And that's really important because visibility within that sort of public sphere means that you have access to a voice, a political voice, and without that political voice, you don't really have any power. It's important to critically think about gender in the media because the society that we live in is a profoundly gendered society. And if you don't look critically at gender and the media, if you take away that analysis, then we lose one of the most important and valuable tools that we have to be able to tackle and ultimately end male violence. Well, gender and anything matters because if you, like a garden, if you don't take care of one weed, it strangles the whole thing, and the dominant species of anything will tend to swamp everything out, and it'll feel natural, and it isn't. It's just a sign that nobody has actually tried to manage a really important process, and how we communicate information to one and another is the most important thing. From a really early age, we're taught by the media and by people around us that it means to be a boy or a girl. So that's like, girls always like, boys don't like this. And these sort of roles and rules are intersected. They interplay with other inequalities. So black girls don't, autistic boys always, and gay men like. And these assumptions put pressure on children and adults to fit into those roles. And these roles are what forms a basis of gender inequality and then violence against women. So to end gender inequality and violence against women, we have to be critical about how the media present us with these ideas. As technology develops and advances, the media becomes an ever more present part of everyday lives. It's truly inescapable, and when we're young, we don't really question it. But gender is so insidious in the way it's packaged and presented. Even the marketing of children's toys, it's becoming much more rigid along the lines of gender, and it's impossible not to internalize that on some level because it really shapes your idea of who you are and where you fit in the world, and not necessarily in a positive way. Very little of actually what happens in life comes through direct experiences. We learn about the world from the media. And so if you learn from the media that, that women, for example, cannot do certain professions, or that women, don't deserve to take certain places in society, this is what you take for granted. And this is how you see the world around you. And there's so very strong evidence that actually what we see in the mass media, whether in the news or in entertainment, affects our worldview. It's hugely important. Women make up 51% of the population. The people you're reporting about, the people who are doing the reporting, and the people who are reading. 51% of the population. So you've got to think about that, to make sure that equality and diversity is embedded in how we do the media, because at the end of the day, it's an influencer in our attitudes and behaviour. I think it's important to think critically about gender and the media because the people in power have interests in keeping the way they are. The gender are not represented equally across our political institutions, and they're not treated equally in respect to the people who get to make political decisions, and even the people who discuss politics. And if it's left to the people in the power, to their own devices, then they'll simply sustain that situation. So it's important that we look at it from the outside. Look at those proportions. And look at what we can do to rectify them, to empower women. Let's start making a difference today on International Women's Day